Hello, y'all. My name is Miss T, Tea. I'm a teacher. I've been an educator and teacher for 23 years now. I've taught all age groups, kindergarten through 12th grade, in-school suspension, special ed, you name it, the substitute teacher. And there's a lot of things that I've experienced in the school system that are just wrong, and nobody's talking about it. So in my podcast, I'm going to be talking about those things that nobody wants to talk about. I've always been the kind of person that talked about things that nobody wants to talk about. Um, so my podcast is going to be just about that. People are going to get upset. People are going to be like, why are you saying that? People are going to, but so what? It's a freedom of speech type of thing, right? So my podcast is called Miss T Talks Education, Opinions Unleashed. Why? Because this is my opinion. I do have, facts to back up my opinion, but you don't have to agree with anything that I'm saying. If you have something to say, you can talk about it in the comments. But today we're going to be talking about um, the school lunches. I'm having an issue with the school lunches. The students are having an issue with the school lunches. And I want to talk about how there's too much of a parallel between the school lunches and the food that prisoners get fed. Actually, the food that prisoners get fed is more nutritious, and there's frankly, there's just more food, and there's better food. I mean, the school lunches are they're packaged in plastic. Okay, we're telling the kids to recycle. We're teaching the kids how not to use plastic straws and all this extra. But at the same time, we're packaging their school lunches in plastic and just making them, hey, let's recycle. But anyways, so let's get into some of the facts of this. I'm going to share my screen at some points because I want you guys to see um, different websites and charts. I got my notes here. Um, so school lunches being the same as prison food. So I want to show you guys a picture of the difference between prison food, school food, the difference between prison cafeterias, school cafeterias, just the difference between both of it. Like who's getting more? Um, it's kind of frustrating because folks don't understand that you can say like Michelle. I don't know why Michelle Obama did this too. Michelle Obama did this, by the way. She's the one that created this healthy eating plan for kids at schools and made it to where they pretty much aren't eating at all, because you're feeding a kid some crackers, some broccoli, a couple of cheese cubes, and you know a a, a nugget that looks like it came from who the hell knows where. They're not going to eat it at all. Like they don't drink the milk unless it's chocolate milk, most of them. They don't eat the fruit because they're kids. Like even when you're at home, like your family has to like force you to eat the fruits and vegetables. So now we have kids that are completely going hungry, period. They're not even eating any food at all. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, and y'all gotta be patient with me. It's the first time I'm doing this. Let me share my screen. I think this is I think that's a screen. Let me share my screen. So I'm screen sharing now. Okay, so let me show you guys this. Okay. Let's think about some stuff. Like the first thing I want to show you guys, let me move this out the way. So the first thing I want to show you guys is this. Look at this chart. So on this chart, it tells us how much like the government pays out for prison food, how much the government pays out for school food, how much calories are in prison food versus how much calories are in school lunches, right? It is, as you can see right here, like as soon as I saw this chart, I went straight down to the money signs. Like I wanted to go straight down to the money signs to see how much money they're actually investing in our kids versus folks that have already had a life and done messed it off already. Okay, so we've got $205 million over here with your typical prison meal, and you've got 11 billion over here for the school lunches. So this is where I'm confused. Why do you have 11 billion over here for school lunches and only 205 million over here for school lunches? But for some reason, the school lunches are still not getting quality food. still not getting enough for a student to last for the day. Folks don't understand that some students come to school to eat breakfast and to eat lunch and to have snack. These are some of the only times that some of these kids even eat food. Okay. And as a teacher for 23 years, I can tell you that there are kids that have no food. Like they're taking school lunch home so that they can have food to eat later, so that they can share with their siblings that don't go to school yet. Like this is a real thing. Okay. So let's go over here. So I want to show you guys, this is school. So on the left, you're gonna see, well, actually, this whole entire slide, my bad, this whole entire slide is school lunch food. Okay, so what can you see similar about the school lunch food? First of all, it's unrecognizable. You don't even know what's in these packages. Like, what is that brown thing over here? What is this? Is it Salisbury steak? Is it gravy? Is it dog food? Who knows what it is? What is this? A corn dog? What is it? A Twinkie? A bread thing? Come on now. What is this? So you're going to feed kids a thing of macaroni and cheese. Now, I just want you to get this image in your head. Well, the next slide I'm going to show you is the slide that shows you the food that prisoners eat. Here we go. Bam. What is happening right now in my life? If you look up here, even the different food category groups, as far as having some starch and having some protein and having a little bit of vegetables and having a little bit of pasta, a little bit of meat. Look, they even get sweets. Okay. So when I look at this tray, I think to myself, okay, let's say if you're at a small private charter school that has only maybe 150 students, that's nowhere near how many people are in a prison. Why aren't those students being fed pretty much gourmet meals? Okay. And I'm going to show you the difference between the way other countries feed their growing citizens. Okay, only America is feeding their growing citizens food that's going to kill them early, right? So here we go. Next slide. So I told you guys I was going to show you the difference between the student cafeterias and then the cafeterias in the prisons. If you look to your left, right here up in the blue, this, and this, these three images here, these are images of students eating in their cafeteria, enjoying themselves, eating. Okay, well, maybe some of them aren't enjoying that school lunch, but look at the layout. Look at how the students are sitting. Look at where the tables are placed. Look at where the benches are placed. And look at the prisons. Look at where the prisoners are sitting. Look at how the tables are put out. Look at how the chairs are positioned. There's a just from the school lunches, you can see that there's a school to prison pipeline happening here. Like you're training the students to sit like you're in prison, eat like you're in prison. You eat when they say, you sit when they say, you drink when they say, you snack when they say. It's the same exact thing. And the thing with the school lunches is that not only do the students not get enough time to eat the lunch, so they're not even getting time to eat it even if they liked it, they're being offered food that they won't even eat because it is unsatisfactory in so many different ways. So these are just like some memes that people came up with. So I just wanted to remind you guys that Michelle Obama is definitely the one that, started this, I guess it was supposed to be something that was supposed to help students, but it didn't. Okay. It didn't help. Let me find my tab. Let me find the tab where I was talking about. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, I can't find that tab right now. But at the same time, let's talk about this. Students are missing out on, let me stop this share real quick. So students are missing out on vital, and I don't think parents know this. So parents, I'm talking to you guys, okay? All right. Those of you that think that you're paying for school lunch, you're getting free and reduced lunch. The reason why it's free and reduced lunch is because it's actually free and reduced in calories, reduced in taste, reduced in satisfaction, and the kids aren't eating it. They just simply don't like it. Like change it. They don't like it. So students are pretty much like, they've been on social media, talking about how the school lunch is nasty. And I think I do have a clip of that. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let me share my screen one more time. Because I mean, the students are like, they're over it. Let's keep it real. They're over it here. Let's go here. Okay. Let me move this. And hopefully, do I have to share the sound? Share sound. Okay, cool. Sound is shared. Let's see if we could make this happen. Okay.
This is the evolution.
Well, I want to show you what food looks like in other countries.
The school lunch industry is.
I do not have the best computer.
This is what school lunches look like around the world. Okay, firstly, you all are going to be jealous about this one. This is what the typical lunch in France looks like. Your main course is a rare steak with green beans and carrots, and for dessert you get fresh veggies and cheese. Now we have Italy. This looks like something more from a 5-star restaurant to me. You get local fish, pasta with tomato sauce, a salad, and fruits and bread. Next, South Korean school lunches are literally on a different level. This is just a few of different type of lunches they get served throughout the week. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to school in South Korea now. This is the typical school lunch in Finland. This is the healthiest by far. They usually have pasta, soup, or salad served with bread, milk, and water. Finally, we have the American school lunch. This is just sad. I mean, after comparing it to the other countries, the USA needs to step up their game. This is what school...
The school lunch industry is unbelievably shady, and you probably didn't even know it. I know I didn't. The USDA has set standards as to what is considered a healthy enough food or snack to be served in schools for lunch. And some big companies have found a loophole. The fruit by the foot on the left meets USDA standards and is sold in schools. It has 7 grams.
Okay, so this is going to be very interesting because what they're saying is these big corporations are actually, when the kids do get something that they taste, they're not just getting it just because the schools are being nice and treating them greatly and love them. They're getting these things because these companies are promoting to kids. So they'll get the fruit by the foot that comes through the school that doesn't have as much sugar and is much healthier for kids, and it fits under Michelle Obama's crap. But then when they go to the grocery store with their family, they're like, hey, I want fruit by the foot because I eat that at school. But the fruit by the foot that they eat in the grocery store is nowhere near as healthy as the fruit by the foot that they get at school. So now, and they do it with hot chips, they do it with Frosted Flakes. I've seen them do it with cinnamon checks. They've had granola bars. They've had all kinds of stuff, power bars, all kinds of things, right? So
this is the evolution of school lunches from the past 100 years. First off, 1930s. Cottage cheese sandwich. Nothing sounds worse than that. Bowl of wheat chowder. Milk. Oatmeal cookie. It's actually not that bad. Wow. They were eating like Foreman in the 1930s. God damn.
1960. Apple. Apples are so good. Toast. They got eggs for some reason. I ain't complaining, man. I love eggs. Banana. Orange juice.
1980s. Pizza, chicken nuggets, fruit cocktail, pudding, and some Capri Sun. I feel like they serve this to this day, actually. It's kind of a lot of food. Ugh.
Present day school lunch. This source came straight into my DMs. One of my followers in Alabama sent me a picture of their school lunch. I don't even know what that is or how to replicate that. I just tried to find the most disgusting thing I could find at the...
So you can see that there's this like transition from actually caring about the growing citizens' health and not caring at all. And let's not forget the free lunch program in California was actually instituted by the Black Panthers. We can't forget about their breakfast program. We can't forget about the free lunch program because that started off feeding a lot of children, especially in the hood, that didn't have no food or any access to it. And let's not forget what happened when COVID hit and students couldn't go to school and they couldn't get food. There are a lot of students that starved during COVID. Okay, they had I remember they had different like pickup spots where you can go and you can pick up food and pick up bags like of your school lunch and you can have it for the week. But if you do your research, after me doing my research, I'm realizing that they didn't have those stations set up in places where there were predominantly Black and brown people. And predominantly Black and brown people statistically don't have access to things like a car to get to a pickup station that might be far. So we have a lot of kids went hungry. A lot of kids slipped through the cracks. Okay, so not only are they getting a lunch that doesn't That is disgusting. Okay, we're gonna look at some pictures. That's disgusting, but they're getting nothing most times, or they're just not eating. Your kids aren't eating the school lunch. Okay, so if you're at a school, you need to either protest, you need to have your kids bring one of them lunches home and you need to taste it. Maybe they need to have it to where parents taste test the school lunches. Parents need to taste test the school lunches, because maybe if they taste the school lunches, they would be like, my kid is not eating that. Okay, parents need to go to social media, kids need to go to social media more often and show what they're being forced to eat. Okay, so there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about, because this is frustrating. Um, um, yeah, so hey, this is how I feel about, the difference between the prison food and it's hard to believe that they're serving students the same food that, or better, that they're serving in prisons. Even if it's like Airmark. I don't know if you guys know about Airmark, but Airmark does school lunches and also does prison food. But the way they're producing the school lunches is so much less quality than the way they're producing the prison food. And it makes me think, like, are the prisons giving them, like, is there some like private backwater funding or something that the prisons are getting, because they're making so much money off the free labor that they're getting from these prisoners? Is that why they're getting more? Because the government is not allotting, they're allotting a significant amount less money to food for prisoners than they are for food for school lunches. And it also makes me wonder, again, back to this chart, all these billions of dollars, these kids should be eating high quality food. But guess what? Go research some of the schools in Texas, okay? Because some of their schools have things like Taco Bell, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Subway, full gourmet spreads, salad bar, freshly fried chicken and mashed potatoes. Like what? How are some schools getting that as their free lunch, and then the free lunch for other neighborhoods is in a piece of plastic and looks like this? Like, go ahead and tell me why some of the food is looking like this and some of the food is looking like gourmet. It's almost like, okay, are those schools being funded more? Almost, it takes me back to the prisons. Are the prisons being privately funded? They've got to be being privately funded. Let me go back to here. But they got to be being privately funded. That's the only way the food could be so much better with such significant less money being allotted to it by the federal government. But there, there were a lot of kids that, let me just make it clear, there were a lot of kids that starved during COVID. Wasn't just Black and brown. I'm saying a significantly more amount of Black and brown kids starved during COVID because they didn't have access to the breakfast and the lunch program and snacks at school. Okay. So we have to think about that. Are prisoners missing their food? No, they get woken up. They get 3 meals a day. They probably get snacks. They got commissary. You can't even find a vending machine on a school campus. So a kid could pick up, a bag of chips or something because they might have forgot their lunch. It just makes no sense. Like, this food issue, we're trying to solve world hunger, and we're taking people that have committed multiple murders and stuff are getting these elaborate meals when there's innocent children around the world that have nothing. There's children in America. Let's just go here. There's so many homeless children in America that have nothing. It almost makes folks, you know what? Let me just not. Okay. But this podcast here was just talking a little bit about the difference between the school lunches and the prison lunches. If you have anything to say, subscribe, Press like, press subscribe, press like. This is my new channel. I'll be talking about all kinds of educational stuff. If you got questions you want me to answer, I will talk to you about it. I do not care. I am no holds bar. If you're a parent and you have a question about something, you actually want to know the truth, what's really happening with your kids, what's really happening in these schools, and y'all want me to do a podcast about it, you want me to do a show about it, I'm down. I'll do it, because these schools need to be exposed. The system needs to be exposed. These kids are guinea pigs. They're being treated like cattle. They're being treated like money. Okay? So you think you're dropping your kid off at school to get their education? Yeah, they're learning, but they're learning the same thing that they learned 70, 80, 100 years ago. You don't think that there should be like some kind of like update? Okay, they don't even, they're being fed food that's not feeding their brain, but then they're being forced to learn all these complex things that sometimes their teachers don't even know. And I'll tell you that, boop, 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 we'll have a show about that. We'll have a show about teachers that teach and don't even know anything, and they're learning right alongside the kids. Let's talk, we'll talk about that. Anyhow, peace out. Miss TEA, spilling the tea on education, opinions unleashed. That was weird, but I did it. I don't know why I did that. Anyways, so I will see you next time. Subscribe, hit me in the comments. Let's talk about this. These are our kids. There's a lot of things we're going to be talking about, and you know some things that we're going to be talking about. You know. All right. Peace out.
Hello. I was told to give my personal opinion on prison food versus school food, and here it is. I remember in high school, the food was absolutely garbage. We would have wet, soggy hot dogs, nasty, disgusting enchiladas. Like, the enchilada would have just cheese all in it, and it'd be spread all everywhere. A mess. And like, we would have nasty cheeseburgers that would feel like rubber. Like, Gordon Ramsay would be crying, okay? And then you go and you look at prison food, and it's literally either the same quality or sometimes even better quality.